Thank you, Mr. Nyantino and the members of the Fourth Estate. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to welcome you into the Nairobi Hostel, which is an institution owned and managed by Kenya Hostel Association. And before I proceed, I think it's important to mention to you that we are an emergency organization. We work 25 hours a day, and some of our directors and senior management are handling emergency cases from time to time. When they get an opportunity, they will join us, because we are an institution which works 24 hours, and our main point is that we are a patient-centric organization. So bear with us. Some will come, some may not come. Like right now, I know that our medical director is in London doing something for the Nairobi Hostel. So if you allow me, I will read quickly. I can see the director of nursing is walked in, and this is the lady who makes sure that the clockwork works 24 hours. If you can come here, Mary, and very quickly, or maybe I just give my press conference so that by the end of the meeting, some other will have come so that I introduce them together. So I can go straight to business. I'll read my statement, and I believe Nyantino will give you copies at the end. The Nairobi Hostel doctors are not on strike. That's what I wanted the world to know. It's very important for the world to know that, because for those of you who don't know, we are the most critical and important institution in Eastern Central Africa. And we are looking after everybody from Southern Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, even Addis. And for that, we don't want any perception out there to imply that we have collapsed. So that, to tell you the truth, doctors are not on strike. If you have time to pass through our accident and emergency section, it's full, and doctors are working. Members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, over the last few days, there have been reports circulating on various social media platforms and sections of mainstream media. Where is it? I'm being told I'm not being heard. So I'll start afresh. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate, our senior management staff, our board of directors, I'm now having the pleasure and privilege to read this statement. Over the last few days, there have been reports circulating on various social media platforms and sections of mainstream media with regard to an alleged strike by doctors of the Nairobi Hostel. As a board of management, we wish to inform all our stakeholders, partners, clients, and general public that the doctors of the Nairobi Hostel are not on strike. The hostel's operations are running smoothly, and all our staff are working tirelessly. That's why our back is not full, because some senior managers and directors are operating and focusing on patients. Because I mentioned we are patient-centric. That's our mainest job. Now, when I say the hospital operations are running smoothly, we are working tirelessly to offer our patients excellent and superior service. Note that the Nairobi Hospital is served with over 600 specialists, consultant doctors with admitting rights, In addition to the hospital's doctors, this is the highest concentration of medical professionals in a single health facility in East, Central, and South Africa. And when I say this, numbers don't lie. The consultants, the top surgeons, the top physicians, the top family doctors are based and domiciled at the Nairobi Hospital. The Nairobi Hospital opened its doors in 1954 as the European Hospital. Before that, from 1952, it was Cecil MacDonald Nursing Home. Then it graduated from a nursing home to a principal hospital. Since then, it has grown from humble beginnings to a modern high-technology hospital with a bed capacity of more than 400 beds. Karibu, 6 outpatient centers, and a global medical evacuation center with a medical helipad and helicopter facility. The combination of highly skilled medical specialists and modern medical and non-medical technology has placed the hospital in a position to undertake a wide range of routine and complex investigations and procedures, including open heart surgery, kidney transplant, trauma care for accidents, orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgery, laparoscopic surgery, and laparoscopic surgery means you get operated without penetration, and very soon, in our vision, we want to have robotic surgery very soon. Critical care, cancer therapy, among others. Today, the Nairobi Hospital is renowned for emergency and trauma care, disaster response, and clinical care as excellent facilities for providing high-quality clinical and nursing care. The Anderson Specialty Clinic, opened in 2017, comprises of a variety of specialty clinics, including orthopedic, well baby, and executive clinics. I urge you, the journalists, to find time and tour our facility to see for yourself the amazing work of saving lives that your dedicated members of staff and management have engaged in a day-to-day basis. The Nairobi Hospital takes pride in highly qualified professionals who deliver our mission every day, translating their knowledge and expertise to internationally compliant practices in healthcare profession. Courtesy, consideration, and unreserved respect towards our patients, privacy, dignity, and confidentiality, as time and again helped us earn trust and goodwill. Our dedicated nursing staff provides professional care within a friendly and comfortable environment, ensuring that being in hospital is a more pleasurable and less anxious time for our patients and their families. Here I can mention that we have gone a notch higher as an institution. We are probably the only hospital in Africa who have got an executive wing, which we call North Wing, with presidential facilities. And late last year, we added one feather to the cap. We imported double beds for our high-end clients, such that if you get sick, you have the ability and the openness and to have you and your spouse coming in over and above our nursing care. Your spouse will come here and have VIP treatment and look after you overnight. So that's very rare. Our facilities are world class. with high technology intensive care units and high dependency units facilities and skilled specialists. They also is able to undertake a wide variety of complex medical procedures. The two new theaters at the main entrance are world class. World class in that best practices which we borrowed from the COVID center, which is now no longer a pandemic. We have probably among the only hospitals who have an expensive, non-intrusive pressure management where the patient does not have problems of infection. And all these facilities have got infection control protection, which is very important. So, occupational therapy facilities, new laboratory, we are improving all the time. Our laboratory has been upgraded and we are doing more than expected, but it's a continuous process. Very dynamic, there is nothing static in this institution. We have hydrotherapy facilities which are some of the best in the region, and we have Western Entrance building, office accommodation, integration services in Anderson building, and main laboratory as the new main pharmacies are all testament of a superior patient experience. Most important, the recent installation of new plants and equipment such as the latest MRI, mammography, and fluoroscopy, 2 new oxygen plants, and the construction of an endoscopy tower have revolutionized and redefined diagnosis and treatment in this hospital. Maybe at this stage I can mention that we are the only hospital in the region which has a biplane cath lab already imported. So we have upped the game of cardiovascular management in the region, which is attracting medical tourism. And I'm pleased to report that in the coming, mainly by about April next year, 2025, we're going to have a full-fledged cardiac center, standalone. This cardiac center is going to be a game changer, knowing that currently we have very young people having cardiac problems, very young people, from 40 up to 90. In the past, you used to have lifestyle diseases like cardiac only appearing from age 70, when God says that after 70, you are living on borrowed time. But now, we can attend to you and you can continue with your life. The cardiac center, being advised by our cardiologists, will reduce theater time from 3 hours to 30 minutes. That's something. And this is the Nairobi hospital, which has brought that to Africa. Which means the chances of survival when you are in theater are improved by 200%. Patients will not be dying on the theater table when you are at the cardiac center in Nairobi hospital. You know the WHO, World Health Organization, they have gotten out the stipend saying #1 killer in the world is lifestyle diseases, cardiac being the main, followed by cancer. The Board of Management has initiated the construction of a cardiac center using the only biplane cath lab in the region for launch before April 2025. This shall reduce theater time for cardiovascular operations from an average of 3 hours in theater to an average of 30 minutes, increasing survival rates for theater cases. Because of this long history of innovation and excellence, the Nairobi Hospital recently won a top global award for its outstanding leadership in the region's healthcare offerings, patients from East, Central, and Southern Africa. The best care using advanced technology in an atmosphere of trust, safety, and comfort. Last year, the hospital once again scooped another global award for its free treatment access to program for thousands of cancer patients as one of our corporate social responsibility initiative, now currently known as Environment, Social, and Governance Approach. In fact, over the last 5 years, the Nairobi Hospital has won over 30 excellence awards, cementing its status as a premier health facility in the region. I had the privilege, together with my Chief Executive Officer, to collect this award from Brussels, from the European Health Standards worldwide, and we scooped that award. That's not a walk in the park. And maybe one intuition, what I want to give you offline, is that those of you are not aware. The architecture of the institution called Kenya Hospital Association, who are the owners of the Nairobi Hospital, have a very clever policy, and they created their organization all the way in 1952, and said Kenya Hospital Association owns the Nairobi Hospital. They have a board of management, not a board of directors, a board of management which keeps oversight over the executive management, who I'm privileged to have here, a few of them, those who are not emergency attention. And the board of the Kenya Hospital Association delegates its responsibility and surrenders their own power to the board of management. The board of management also surrenders part of their power to the executive management. And because of the wisdom of our predecessors, they said, we are non-medical doctors, but we want an institution which will help us. They created within KHA an institution called ASA. ASA means Admitting Staff Association, which means once you have the privilege as a medical consultant to practice in this hospital, you are given a privilege which can be withdrawn, just like management are given a privilege which if they misbehave, it can be withdrawn. Such as the board of management, when we sit here, we are given a privilege which can be withdrawn by the Kenya Hospital Association, who own the institution. And for your information, this institution operates on very strict governance institutions. And there is always a room outside. There's always room outside the structures. If I misbehave as chairman of the board, there is a structure of getting rid of me. If the management misbehaves, there is a structure of getting rid of them. If the board of management misbehaves, there is a structure of getting rid of them. And if the ASA, Admitting Staff Association, they have a chairman, who is called Medical Advisory Council Chairman, who runs the clinical aspect of the politics of the hospital. And if the doctors are unhappy with that chairman, there is a legal process in the articles and memorandum of association which can exit them. But you can't wake up one morning and say, my chairman of Medical Advisory Council should go, and I take the position. I'm giving you these snippets to understand how we operate. And for your information, the consultants of Nairobi Hospital, they are royal, they follow a certain discipline, and they also have the ability and the privilege to operate in other hospitals. They can go all hospitals they want, but when our patients are here, they come and treat them and attend to them here. That's something that you must speak. That our doctors, our consultants are not employees of the Nairobi Hospital. They are called Admitting Staff Association. they admit their patients here. They have the privilege to bring their patients here. But they can take their patients to Aga, they can take their patients to Moja Clinic, they can take their patients to Nairobi West, all MPSA and all these institutions in Kenya. So what I want you to understand before you leave this room, we have no capacity for consultants to go on strike, because the hospital management system, which I've told you, from the trustees, the board of the management, executive management, we have our own doctors who are employed by the Nairobi Hospital under the umbrella of Kenya Hospital Association. These doctors are on payroll, and they, unfortunately, our medical director is not here. He's in London on duty. Our chairman of MAC, Medical Advisory Committee, who is a top pediatric surgeon, right now as we are talking is in theater, otherwise he will have been sitting here next to me. But we said life first, health first. That's why some of the top people are not sitting with me here. When we have our doctors who sit here, I wish Kioma would have been here, they look after the operations of the hospital, but the consultants also bring their patients here. I am now privileged to tell you that I've finished this document, which I believe has been able to give you an expression of what goes on at the Nairobi Hospital, run by Kenya Hospital Association. Thank you very much, and I hope I was clear enough not to attract a lot of questions from our brothers and sisters from the fourth estate. But if you have a burning issue, which I'm able to answer, I have the privilege to listen to you. But before I do, I would like to give any of our gentlemen coming here, I want to introduce them first, and then you may have the privilege, after they make a few comments, to ask a few questions. On my right is my... On my left, sorry about that. On my left, I'm privileged to have my vice chairman, my brother, Philemon Misaka, who has a very long CV, much longer than mine. And those of you who are aware, Misaka has been a permanent secretary in the Republic of Kenya for many years. Moisaka has been in other areas in public service, including at some stage being the chairman of Italy College, and he will mention his accolades, and he has a MBS, yeah, he has an EBS, elder of a burning spear. I have a burning spear on my left. And that's Mwisaka, and next to him is Gilbert Nyamwea, the company secretary, our legal man. On my right is an ICT expert and a director, Bwana Geoffrey Ngetich is a very, very brilliant computer engineer, and both in software and hardware. He'll give a comment. And on my far right is our Chief Executive Officer, Bwana James Nyamongo. Now, there were so many people who should have been on the front row, but I told you why they are not here. Then I go to the back. From my right is Felix Osano, but I want to allow the CEO to introduce his staff. I'm going overboard. Bwana James Nyamongo, you will introduce the staff, and after that, then I will give my directors the chance to talk 1, 2, 3. You know, if we didn't have, our theaters will not be full, our air and accident emergency will not be full, number one. Number two, a correction. There is no dispute between the KHA and the board, because the board reports to the KHA. There is only a small dispute of very few people who are aggrieved because they wanted to get some money. Some of them may have gotten money in advance, and the owner of the dog told them, now that it is stopped, we want our money back. And maybe they have eaten the money. This is the problem. The KJ are the ones we are defending here today. Because, take me anywhere, and I said, they even said that I'm the one who did the computer. I was not part of the procurement process. The people who are part of the procurement process are out there fighting. They are less than 10, but they have loud mouths. They talk too much. Because they talk, we don't talk. This is a second interview I've given. I've never talked since this thing said. They talk, and we say, in Kenya, we have several tribes, but most of them say, a frog making noise in the river never stops a cow from drinking water. And that's the position here. There are frogs out there making noise, the cow is still drinking water. What do I mean by that? It's an analogy. We are focused on the price. The price is make sure that our patients came here and they go home happy. That's our focus. Both the management and the board. We don't want side shows. And you've never seen me replying the social media. I don't, because I don't even understand social media. So what I'll tell you is that there is no dispute between KHA and the board. Because we belong to KHA, we report to them. On 27th, we appear before them. They either throw us out or they endorse us to do another term. It's as simple as that. But if you are a doctor, a consultant, and we have given him the privilege to practice here, and then you say you are going on strike, excuse me, do you even know the English language? The only person who strikes is your employee. The consultant is not our employee. You just say, Nairobi Hospital is on its deathbed, let me practice at Umoja Clinic, Dandora Clinic, Aga Khan, MP Shah, Nairobi. There are several options. Once you think that this hospital is not doing a good job, you have the freedom to walk out. But once you insist to stay here, you know there is something you want from here. Because the CEO said he pays them twice a week, twice a month, on 1st and on 15th. There are very few hospitals. I don't want to talk about our peers, because in healthcare we don't have competition. We have peers. Because when you have an emergency, you can even call a doctor from Aga Khan, from MP Shah to come and sort out. We work together, and we even share patients. We normally say your hospital can be 110% full. What do you mean by that? When you have more patients, the flow of 10%, we ring Coptic, we ring Aga Khan, we ring MP Shah and say, our beds are full. Can you take the overflow? That's when you say, and we have been on 110% in this year, actually. Was it in March, Madam Director of Nursing? In March, we did 110%. And that's the time these people were saying, we are not running the hospital properly. Can you get 110% when you're not running it properly? So the patients we offload are the patients whom we don't have a bed. Like in North Wing, the one I told you, the VIP unit where heads of state come, you don't get a bed. You fight to get a bed there. And it's very expensive, but for the people who can afford, they fight for it. So I've corrected you. It's not KHA. There's a few members there below 10. Kindly. Thank you. And I think now, after you, I'll give my vice chairman to round up, we close the press conference. I hope you are satisfied. Thank you. Pardon?
One question, what are the measures put in place to ensure that the doctors are not striking?
Are not?
Are not going on strike and patients are safe. I'm sorry if you're talking about that because I was articulate. And number two, the accusations that the board will be using the courts to extend their lifetime.
Thank you. Thank you. If we were extending our lifestyle, 27 wouldn't happen. I am the one who ordered the company secretary to put a date for the annual general meeting. to face the honors. And when we face the honors and they want to throw me out, I will not object. That's number one. Number two, you have said something which I already answered, Mami. I said consultants are not on strike. They are not on our doctors, our medical officers are not on strike. Like now, you can walk to anyone or go to A&E. A&E is the best example. The doctors are working around the clock. The nurses are working. The radiologists are working. Because as a patient, you want to go home knowing you are well. And we are protecting them. We have measures and activities to protect them. And if you come here to make life difficult, we can also use the knife. But we normally don't use the knife. We normally use the carrot. So what I want to assure you, Mami, when you come to the Nairobi hospital, as I was walking here for the press conference, I met a few consultants on the line. 6 o'clock, they were here operating. And they told me, one of them told me, this nonsense, these people maybe they have no patience, they are jealous, they want the hospital to die. There is no question of doctors going on strike. The architecture of this hospital, I told you, was that we give consultants a privilege. When we think that is going to add value. If you are not adding value, the CEO can offload you. Am I right or wrong? If you are not adding enough, in fact, even the board doesn't interfere. The chief executive officer will either suspend you or terminate your services here. And remember, we said admitting staff association. They are called staff because they don't report to the board. They report to the CEO. We are a bit higher than them. But a good doctor, we protect him. A good consultant, we protect them. Like these people, the genesis of this, because it's in the court, we can't talk about it, is the CEO suspended a few doctors, 10, and they went to court. And they got an injunction to continue working as the case ends. And they are scared that when the case starts, you know, an injunction is temporary. When you go into parties, thank God we go to inter-parties, and they are found they are wrong. If the ruling is against them, that's why they are panicking, like other chicken. This man will now terminate their rights to admit in this hospital. I hope you understand that architecture. But it doesn't mean their rights will end. They will practice still in other hospitals. And there's something I want to tell you called conflict of interest. Some of these doctors who are fighting here, they are chairman for Medical Advisory Council in Nairobi West. They are chairman in the Kenyatta University Hospital. When you have a conflict of interest, that's why everybody hates conflict of interest. Your presentations are questionable. Thank you, Mami. I hope I've answered you. Yeah, we have medical doctors who work for us, who can go on strike, and we have consultants who are not under one bit. Thank you so much. And I allow my vice chairman to vent a bit, then we finish this session. Karibu, my brother.
Chairman, I wanted just to, what is going on is not a legal process as such. We are talking about people who would want to replace the board, but without following the normal legal process. Because the board which is there can be replaced following legal channels. And I want to submit here that those who are the brain behind the requisition are so scared following the normal legal process of replacing the board members. And therefore, what they have been trying to do is actually to overthrow the board.
Illegally.
Illegally. That is number one. And once again, brothers and sisters, the truth will come out one day. Number two, talking about the ICT system. As we move on, ladies and gentlemen, let us keep on waiting for the truth to come out. And the day the truth will come out, you will discover that these people in this board are very innocent. It would have been suicidal for the board to accept the system that was being recommended. In fact, would have committed a very serious crime, sitting on this board and allowing the wrong ICT system to come in. As time goes on, I request you to try and find out how the current ICT system we are using came in, so that you have a system that is controlled outside this country and managing activities that are within the hospital. Once again, being an old man, I'm saying once again, the truth will come out one day. We are talking about huge resources. And let me tell you, some people are fighting the current board simply because they feel we are stopping them from getting what they feel is theirs. Because ICT system is very costly. But as a board, we have sacrificed ourselves, we have sacrificed our names, lies have been told, lies, coming from hell itself. We have been accused of conflict of interest, for example, Chairman. I've never been a contractor in my life. I should have become a contractor perhaps when I was DO, DC, PS, or even principal of Kenya Utalii College. I've never been a contractor. But these demonic forces would want to believe I am a contractor, which is really terrible. I'm finishing by saying this. It's good you came, Mr. Chairman, and it's good you take Mr. Nyantino's document. It contains all the answers to the questions that you are raising. We wish the liars God's salvation so that they may repent for the sins they have committed to this nation. You cannot destroy an institution like this one. You cannot lie about an institution like this one. Just follow the legal processes and get to the power. Finally, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm saying it, and I'm sure Chairman will agree with me, we shall not die if we cease being board members. We have been bigger things before. In fact, we are sacrificing. So for people to keep on talking about us struggling to remain members, extending our tenure and so forth and so on, that's not true. Once again, Nyantino's document will give you information about what improvements we have done here. And I think it would be wrong for us not to commend the CEO because he has done a lot in terms of facilitating corporate governance in this institution. There are no policies, there are no guidelines, there are no corporate guidelines to allow us to do the right things, but he has managed to do it with the support of the board. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. And as we wind up, I was surprised that you didn't ask me a question about one of the issues these people are talking about, overseas borrowing. And I can tell you, and the CEO said it, all along, we have been operating with our own funds. But when you want to move a step faster, you want cheap funds which will not affect your cash flows. That's why we say, locally, we did a lot of investigation locally. Currently, the interest rates are 21, 23 per annum. And we say, if we want big money to bring things which are expensive for you, Kenyans who want to become untreated here, PET scan, bone marrow transplant, MRI, artificial intelligence, such that diagnostic procedures are done accurately. We don't have that money. If we use our current resources to do that, including the ICT system, which is above $1 billion or 1.23 billion, you will not pay suppliers for drugs, for small things, consumables, and then we will go bankrupt now that they claim that we are bankrupt. Now we are not bankrupt. But if we continue using our internal funds, we'll close shop. So we say if you get big money, we've even been supported by the American government. They are trying to do a research to find out how they can help us. We will get money, long-term credit at cheap cost to run these things as our normal operations are going on. Logic. Umepata hiyo? And the other thing I must mention as you walk out, the COVID center. The COVID center was built by this board. The COVID center saved people worldwide. We saved more people than New York, which is a top hospital. What the World Health Organization, the United Nations Organization, who gave us the money, they gave us $1 billion, we used 870 million. We saved. And because of that, they gave us a donation of a machine called the ECMO machine, which the doctors tell me, I'm not a medical doctor, me, I'm an academic doctor. They told me that when you have an ECMO machine, it is a heart-lung dialysis machine. It is not a kidney dialysis machine. Very expensive. We had to train an expert to run it in this hospital, and increasing those facilities, and actually they gave us accommodation. The UN and the WHO gave Nairobi also accommodation. We built the COVID hospital with that UN money within 90 days, a project of 1 billion, 90 days. So you see, they are jealous that we are doing good things. So people, when you go out, also support the truth. Don't support the board, just support the truth. Asante sana.
Thank you very much.